Hi. Hi. Oh, hi. Hi. Hi, hi, hi. My name's Carolyn. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Carolyn.
I meet the qualifications that I can speak at these meetings. I've been through Big Book Step Study with a Big Book Step Study sponsor. I always forget to say that, and then I get mad when other people don't say it. I'm like, they haven't done it, you know? So I try to remember, try to follow the rules. This chapter is fun because it's like one of the only chapters you can kind of talk about your drinking, which was like, I liked my drinking. But the fun thing about me is that I didn't really get to Big Book until I was like 8 years sober. So I had a lot of fun in sobriety in terms of bad decisions. And like, it would basically be like, I'd meet a guy and he'd be like sober or like kind of sober or like sober and then not sober. And he'd be like, will you support me mentally, spiritually, financially, and can I live with you? And I'd be like, yes. And I was like, it's in the book. Like, they say that you might have to have people live with you. Like, and I love him. I'm in love with you. Like, and so, like, I had my own detox for a while. And, like, it got shut down by my parents after some time. It's funny, too, like, Big Book tried to get me from the minute I came into AA. My first sponsor was a Big Book Step Study sponsor. And I was like, nah, I didn't really understand what was going on. My first Big Book meeting, I met her at it. It was like the sex part of, whatever. It was co-ed. I was like, what is happening? These people are sick. Like, this is sick, And then I remember I felt so depressed when I came into AA. I was 24, and people were like, you can't have your old friends and this, that, and the other thing. And I'd be like, I have such a bad life. I just watch Netflix, and I have such a sad time. And I remember my sponsor being like, wait until you read the doctor's opinion, with like a knowing smile, like it will all make sense. So I had a lot of pressure on the doctor's opinion. And I read it, and I was like, I don't get it. Like, this does not help me. It does not all make sense. Like, I'm moving on from this situation, And so I ended up moving from Medford, which was really a hard time for me. And I moved back to Roslindale, which is like my home base. It's where I need to be. And I got another sponsor, also Big Book Step Study sponsor. I was like, what is with this, And, but she was not doing 10, 11, and 12, so she was not well. And so after my writing, she decided it was like a good idea to share in a loud voice, in an angry loud voice at a meeting, some of my fifth step. And so I was like, well, I don't go to AA anymore. And so I sponsored myself for years. And that's when I was making those good decisions about, like, come live with me, I'll help you. Like, I love you. And I will take care of you. And I'm in a nonprofit, so I make not a lot, but I will share it with you, And that's how I lived, And then my grandmother was like 45 years sober when I got sober. And I was lucky to have 5 years with her, where we went to meetings together. It was hilarious. She was going blind. She was definitely deaf. And we'd be at meetings at night, and she started wearing sunglasses. She'd be falling asleep. And then people would clap, and she'd be like, what a great meeting. What a great message. I'm like, you heard zero of what was said, And then I started to, kind of slowly, after that fifth step thing, and I felt like I was just getting resentments left and right, you know what I mean? Like, I remember I was speaking from the podium one time, and someone was like, you don't need to be so jokey up there. And I was like, oh, I didn't know the rules, I didn't know. So the next time I spoke, someone came up to me and was like, you're not as funny as you normally were. And I was like, well, I don't know what you people want. I can't be who you want, So I just won't come, You guys will suffer. And then my grandmother died, and it was like devastating. And right before she died, she was like, you're not well. You need to do something about this. So I started going back to AA, and like someone asked me to sponsor them, and I was like, why? Like, what do you see here that you are liking, And I currently had my high school boyfriend living with me, who was like not that, so like that's this one of the situations I was telling you. You know what? After that situation, I was on my way to writing dudes in jail. That's where I was going to be finding my next boyfriend. That's where I was at. And so I was like, what do you mean? So a friend of mine who's here today, tonight, I was like, she had been through Big Book, and I was like, you know what? I like rules. I'm sure it's not going to help me, but I will just, for the rules, I will go through Big Book Step Study, so I can write it all down and whatever. And I was so like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't believe I have to do this again, writing definitions. The first time I did definitions, I was such a snot. My Big Book Step Study sponsor was like, you didn't write any down. And I felt like she was aggressive. And I was like, I know all the words. And I knew what words she was going to ask me. So I had looked them up prior. And she was like, what about blah, blah, blah? And I just like gave her a definition. And she was like, wow, okay, I guess you don't. But like, that's what a jerk I was. You know what I mean? Like, I was like not into it. So this time I was writing the definitions, doing the work. And like, immediately I was like, wow, I am ruining my own day. All the time. Like, I am a gossip. Like, you talk about me, I will be like, you upset me, I'll be talking about you so fast. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, why do I hate work? You're gossiping all the time. You're a jerk. That's why you hate work. You are a jerk. So I started making changes like instantly when I started doing Big Book Step Study. And to this day, I still don't recognize how it helps me. You know what I mean? Like I finished the process, and like the first person that I dated was the same dude, different name, different face, but same dude that I always dated. And I was like, you know what? This is not going to work for me. And the next person that I dated was totally different. And like, we've been together for 4 years. I've never dated anyone that long. I typically make it 6 months. I decide I don't like you, and I start being a jerk, and then a year is when it ends. So I never make it past a year. And like I was in a Big Book meeting recently, and I was like, I wonder if doing this had anything to do with that. You know what I mean? Like, God, it's like I'm so slow, like, God, of course it does, and like doing a regular 10th step and sponsoring women and bringing them through the process. And now, like, when I read the doctor's opinion, I understand why it's so important, right? Because it's like a doctor who is basically like, I hope there's no doctors in here, I'm the smartest in the world. You know what I mean? Like, if you see a doctor, they're like, it's Dr. Whatever, right? And they're like, you need to have a spiritual connection in order to get past this. Like, if you don't have a spiritual connection, all the treatment in the world is not going to help you. And he said that in this book. And so it was kind of like a pioneering, like a big deal that he said that, and so I can understand that now. And that's after like years. I've been post-process probably like 6 or 7 years now. And so now I realize it, and now I see how this process helps me. When I first started sponsoring people, it was like, I'll pick you up for a meeting every night. I'm mad if you're on your phone. I'm obsessed and giving you advice that I shouldn't be giving. Like, you want dating advice? Absolutely. You need financial advice? Me too, I'm in debt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy what I thought I could be helping people with. And now it's like, okay, listen, like, what you need to do is you need to write about this, you need to pray about this, like, and it's good you're talking about it. I'm always here to talk. I'm always going to take your call. But like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You need to bring this to God. And that who it is, like, our job as a sponsor, like, my first sponsor had me on a financial plan, a gym plan, an eating plan. She wanted to hold my credit cards. I was like, this feels weird. I don't see that in this. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm not sure that I'll do that, And it took me years. I'm still trying to like pay off some debt that like, cause like I switched addictions, right? I was like, I'm sober, and I was like, yeah, I need a $2,000 bag monthly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't credit and forget it, everyone. Like that was like, I needed to fill the hole in my soul. And it wasn't filled until I started doing this work. And even now it's not always filled. You know what I mean? Like, I love picking weird fights with my boyfriend, like I love doing weird things. But now it's like, I am aware of it. So it's the same as like, if I go to like, I don't eat fried clams anymore, like I went to Martha's Vineyard and I had a full plate of them and then I threw up. And so now I know, like, when I'm going to eat fried clams, I'm not going to feel good. When I'm going to gossip, I'm not going to feel good. It's the same thing, right? So when I engage in these behaviors that I know are not good for me, I know I'm not going to feel good. And it might feel good to like bring someone down for a little bit. Of course, that's very fun. It's fun to make someone little and make you be up here. But it's not fun for a long time. You know what I mean? You're the one who's suffering. It's like, who do you have in your life? Who do you have that's surrounding you? And now, today, I have people who are doing this work. I bring a lot of people through. I have a lot of people post-process that are sending me 10 steps, which keeps me sending 10 steps to people that I send them to. And then currently right now, someone is making amends. I just finished, she started making amends. I have someone who's writing, I have someone who's reading, and I have someone who's sitting through a cycle. And then I have at least 5 or 6 people who are post-process. And so I have a lot of people in my life, and my best friend and my business partner has been through this process. And you should hear us like talking at work, because like, we were real sick when we started together, but now we've been together for a long time and we communicate well, right? Like we do this work together and we communicate with each other. And I understand that when I'm being a jerk, it's because of me, not because of her. When I can take space and be like, all right, what's going on for me? Why is that hurting me? Am I talking to like little Carolyn? Is this Carolyn in college? Who is this, And I can be that person that I need. But it's through this work. Like, it's through doing this work. This work has caused me to become the weirdest person I've ever been in my life. I have crystals. I wear meditation shawls. I love I have my own deck of cards. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about it, right? You can have your own concept of God. It doesn't have to be. The only time I've ever been mad about someone's concept of God is when they were like, my higher power is SpongeBob SquarePants. I was like, you're a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, that's a jerk concept of God. Like, but other than that, I'm all good with it. You know what I mean? Like, I will not judge your concept. You want the ocean, you want whatever, like, I'm good with it. A cartoon that is stupid, no, I'm not playing. I don't like you. Get out. And that's what I love, because your concept grows with you. And so I've grown with this program. This program has grown with me. And so biggest thing is having a relationship with your higher power. And so if you have a sponsor that's not trying to connect you to your higher power, which is the purpose of this book, if you're not doing the steps, you're in a book club and you're not reading the book. You know what I mean? And so, and we don't need to be aggressive about the people that are not doing it. It's like, hey, I'm here if you want to do it. You know what I mean? It's not no judgment. It's just different, right? You're just in a book club that you don't know the book. That's great. That you just have your wine and cheese and call it a day, And so, and I mean that. You'll be having wine and cheese if you don't do the steps. So anyways, I appreciate you all listening. Thank you so much, and good luck and God bless.
Awesome.